some time at the end for some question. So this is what I plan to talk about today. Since I'm going to share a lot in 30 minutes, I will cover all this that you see on the slide in a very foundational manner. So rather quick. So try to, if you have any questions, just note them down and we'll try to handle it during the Q&A session. So I will first start with AI first impressions, followed by my emphasis of AI augmenting teaching and learning and not replacing teaching and learning, which many educators are concerned about. And I really appreciate Professor Dato Elizabeth Lee touching on this in her opening remarks. I will then proceed to defining the definition of AI literacy that I am using. And then I'm going to share with you a few examples of AI literacy in teaching and learning. What does it look like in practice? And then I would like to make a call for action. Two things. One is a call for DEVO in AI. So I'll let you know momentarily what DEVO stands for. And then I also like to call it for action, AI literacy for all. And hopefully we have some times at the end for some question. So let us begin. AI is indeed taking the world by storm. And maybe you've been hearing a lot of AI too, right? From your students, especially with the prevalence of the use of ChatGPT. But remember though, AI technologies have been around since the 1950s. And even some of you may have used it in the recent years, perhaps for the last decade or so without even sort of making the connection to AI or even calling it AI. So for example, how many of you have used Siri in your iPhone? That is AI. How many of you have used Amazon Alexa? That is also AI. How many of you have used translation app when you visit another country? That is also AI. And how many of us have used those nice filters on social media that we use before we post so that we look sharper or maybe even funnier, right? That is also AI. So AI has been around for a long time. People in the fashion enterprise have been using it. Doctors and radiologists have been using it to help them diagnose a medical issue or even to eliminate possibilities. But however, the emergence of ChatGPT, a generative AI, really changed the landscape of our conversation in the teaching and learning world. And we're starting to hear more of a bleak future of teaching and learning with AI. And that's one extreme that we are hearing. And then the other extreme that we are hearing is kind of a romanticized version of AI, right? So I will talk about both. And you can also sort of think about your use of AI and in which and what is the impression that you have about AI as I talk about AI literacy. So let's go to AI first impressions, right? Let's talk about our own AI first impressions. Believe it or not, many people are learning about AI from media. So consider this movie that you see on your left here, Megan. Some of you may have watched it. So Megan is an AI, sort of a lifelike doll that's programmed to be the child's greatest companion and parents' greatest ally, right? So in this movie, Megan is designed by Gemma. So she's a roboticist in this movie. And Megan can listen, watch, and learn as it plays the role of a friend, a teacher, playmate, and protector. So when Gemma becomes the unexpected caretaker of her 8-year-old niece, she decides to give this niece of hers a Megan prototype, a decision that leads to unimaginable consequences. So I don't want to give you the spoiler alert, especially if you've not watched the movie. But let me just say that Megan becomes overly protective with this niece. And let's just say some bad things, including this AI doll really causing harm to some young children, actually happens in this movie. So on the right side here is a Bollywood movie that some of you may have seen, where Kriti Sahun takes the role of Sifra. Sifra is this advanced AI human robot who's designed to be a human companion, that this hero that you see on the slide here, Aryan, falls in love with her and then even wants to marry her after he finds out that she's actually an AI robot, right? So this eventually becomes an entertaining comedy. So I am going to give you the spoiler alert, because Sifra actually ends up malfunctioning, happens, and has goes through some extreme glitches which ends up setting up New Delhi on fire. I'm not making any movie endorsements here, but if we only learn about AI from media, there will definitely be misconception. These first impressions that I've shared with you may sound funny, right? Some are scary. Some are actually romanticizing our understanding of AI. But the problem with first impressions is that it takes a long time to change them. So that is a point that I really want to make. And then there's also a lot of negativity about AI. But some of this negativity definitely has merit. So, for example, on the left here, you see a case of a group of lawyers submitting bogus case laws created by ChatGPT. It was beautifully written, but the problem is these cases did not exist. They were simply made up. The judge fined the lawyers. On the right side here, we know ChatGPT related teaching is abundant. Students are asking ChatGPT to write their assignments. We see this type of headlines that you see on your right. And as educators, we launch into the safeguard mode, assuming the worst. And that is basically, a very human thing to do. So similarly for our students, they may start with this misconception that generative AI is always used for such purposes, as in to cheat. And the yield is always negative. You get caught. So again, there are first impressions. These are the first impressions of many of AI. And again, the issue with such first impressions is that it takes a long time to change them. So I like us to be moving this conversation a bit, and I'm so glad that Professor Dato Elizabeth Lee touched on this. So here I'm quoting Dr. James Landay, who's a professor at Stanford University, who says that AI should be inspired by human intelligence. It should augment and not replace human capabilities. So, for example, during COVID, hundreds of AI tools were built to catch COVID, but none of them actually did. None of them really helped. Why? Because clinical care and hospitals involve messy work, involves human coordination. We are still not successful in halting COVID, even with AI tools. In fact, in the United States, COVID is taking another surge right now. So will AI replace some human workers? Maybe. But that is what we thought 5 years ago about radiologists, that they will be all gone because of AI. I would encourage you to read this New York Times article by Manju and Langlois that said that radiologists who use AI will replace radiologists who don't use AI. So if you just replace that profession radiologist with any other jobs in that sentence that I shared with you, it may be true. It may be true that educators who use AI will replace educators who don't. The key is AI will augment humans. And that is what I would like us to understand as educators of the next generation. So how does this all translate into teaching and learning? So for educators, we like to spend more time with our students. And that is our goal. Can AI help? So this Forbes article says, yes. It does explain how using AI means you have more time for your students, more time to be creative in your classroom. It gives you a lot more flexibility. So let me pose a question to you. Did the calculator replace the role of math teachers, human teachers in math classrooms? No, they did not. The teacher now has to teach how to do arithmetic without a calculator and then teach the students how to use the calculator appropriately. So that is the logic that this Forbes article is using. It will change your job, but not replace you. So that brings me to the benefits of AI. And to really leverage the benefits of AI, what we should be focusing on is incorporating AI literacy across all subjects in the curriculum, and also equipping, really working with teachers like you, equipping you with the AI literacy. So safe and effective use of AI requires us to be informed users. And therefore, it calls on school leaders, so I know there are many school leaders in the audience as well, to support AI literacy for all learners, educators, and community members to use this emerging tech responsibly. For educators, the development of AI literacy is a necessary prerequisite to harnessing the power of emerging technologies for powerful teaching and learning. And for learners, AI literacy can equip them with essential skill sets to responsibly use these AI technologies for the good of society throughout their lives and also in the workforce. So to understand AI, I suggest that you check out this framework from Digital Promise. So Digital Promise is also known as the National Center for Research in Advanced Information and Digital Technologies. Whenever they come up with a report or white paper, I will always read them. They are very, very sound. This is a nonprofit organization which is originated by the US Congress as part of a reauthorization of the Higher Education Opportunity Act. And Digital Promise mission is to spur innovation in education to improve the opportunity to learn for all Americans. The link to this report is at the bottom of the slide, and I am very, very willing to share the slides with the organizers after this talk. So what is AI literacy? So AI literacy includes the knowledge and skills that enable people to critically understand, evaluate, and use AI systems and tools to safely and effectively participate in an increasingly digital world. I like you to remember these three verbs: understand, evaluate, and use AI systems. These are the three modes of engagement in AI literacy. So based upon existing body of work relating to AI literacy, ethical use of AI, and human justice perspective, the Digital Promise researchers recognize that this is interconnected. The use, the evaluate, and the understanding all has to happen concurrently, and together they support robust engagement in AI literacy. So building and facilitating AI literacy really necessitates all these three. So understanding and evaluating AI is critical to making informed decision about if we should use AI, and if we use it, how we should be using AI. So hopefully now you have a sense of what AI literacy means through the definition that I just provided to you. Let's look at how AI literacy is implemented and taught in various classrooms over the world. The first one that I'm going to share with you, I have only three examples, and I'll share with you. You can see the resource at the end, at the bottom of the slide. There are more than 100 creative ideas on to use AI in education. This is a fabulous resource, and I'd be happy to share the slide with you. And you can actually, this is Creative Commons license, so you can use and adapt, but you have to give credit to the teachers that came up with these ideas. So the first one here is by Sandra Abiglin from the University of Calgary in Canada. So she's fostering digital literacies using this AI tool called Midjourney. So Midjourney is a tool that generates images from natural language description. So just like how we talk, but they call it prompts. So you have to prompt Midjourney. So a prompt is a natural language text describing the task that you want the AI to perform. So the Midjourney's founder said that Midjourney is very popular among artists for rapid prototyping of artistic concepts to show their clients before they actually, start building their woodwork or, creating some kind of a knitting project. So they work with their clients first using Midjourney. But in this class, this faculty member from University of Calgary uses Midjourney as a starter tool to critically reflect with students on digital technology and its use. The digital technology that they are critiquing is actually Midjourney. So how does this happen in this lesson? So before using Midjourney, she actually asked the class to investigate about the company that has developed the tool. Remember, this framework that I gave you, the understand part is what we are talking about right now. She asked them to read and annotate the terms of service. She's asking them to explore how it has been used, in which context, in which industry. She poses questions on the impact of AI tool on labor, who's losing their jobs because of Midjourney, who's actually gaining jobs because of Midjourney. And one of the most important component, how is it handling privacy and security of its users' data? See the emphasis here on understanding and evaluating, because once they understand and they have evaluated Midjourney, then it can lead to a better use of Midjourney. Next example. This time around is a nursing example. So just to shake things up a bit. So in this context, these educators are using this tool, Midjourney and ChatGPT together to author case studies for nursing. So if you've done this before, you know that authoring case studies is a time-consuming process. And the case studies that are out there often don't have all the components that will lead to an engaging and also helpful learning experience. So by leveraging AI like Midjourney and ChatGPT, these educators are able to author not only a comprehensive case study for nursing, but also sort of generate this relevant dialogue and feedback and branches that take the learner on a content-rich journey. This is actually something that I use in my classrooms a lot, where I teach my own students, during the introduction, you know that I'm a professor of library and information science. So I teach future librarians about what they should do with their communities. And one of the things that they do is they serve on a reference desk in the library. And people will come to you asking you all sorts of questions. So I generate these case studies. And these case studies are brilliant because they have more power in terms of branching, because it evolves. As you pick a choice, you say something, it evolves. It makes it a little bit more interesting and complicated. And it's really quite exhaustive. But you should see the disclaimer here that this teachers have put in on this lesson plan, right? Because the disclaimer actually says the scenario is a proof of concept. All text within the scenario was generated by ChatGPT with the image coming from Midjourney. Our use of AI is still a testing phase. It has not been vetted yet by a subject matter expert. There's also that understanding of the use of AI that's going on in this framework as well. So I really love this example. So just to recap, the use of case studies in nursing has several benefits. It gives learners the chance to grapple with an endless number of critical thinking situations that will be relevant in their professional careers. It also mimics a real world example that they cannot experience in a regular classroom. We all know nursing is very, very complicated. There are a lot of there's a lot of coordination, there's patients. So it really mimics a real world context that we cannot do in a regular classroom. And we also know that authoring case studies is time consuming. This AI shortens the time needed to author case studies. AI also allows comprehensive case study development, which I said earlier, it generates dialogue and feedback. It makes it really, really sort of a conversational. You learn a lot from that conversation. My last example for you is the tool that's used here is OpenAI's GPT-4 API, and it can be accessed from the Blue JID extensions. Don't worry about this AI tools, but what I would like you to pay attention to is how it's being used to learn how to program in Java language. So this is actually incorporated by these wonderful professors at the University of Kent. It's incorporated in students' introductory programming classroom to support novice Java programmers. So what happens is that using this OpenAI GPT-4 API allows students who are learning programming to ask questions about the code they have written and wonderfully gain help 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? Which we educators are unable to do in our classrooms. And they can ask help on various issues, stylistic improvement, explanation of code, tell me more, error messages, troubleshooting error messages, and so on. But they can still learn independently, but on-demand support that instructors cannot provide. Some of the classes that we have at the University of Maryland for programming, there are 150 students in those classes. So this is where this type of tools really come in handy. And also removes the barrier of not pursuing programming because basic coding errors can be very, very frustrating for a novice programmer. So using this help that is in, your fingertips really helps them to build that confidence. So I am almost towards the end here. I know this is hard given that I'm giving this talk virtually. So I hope you've been able to, be engaged and follow me because, I don't get to see you. So I don't really see your facial expressions. So in my own experience using AI tools in classroom, I highly recommend using AI, using this concept, this method called DEVO. So it's do it with others. So what I would recommend is that when you're using AI tools, encourage students to work in groups so that they can police each other, such as some of the group work that have been done, at least in Maryland, such that they can generate book summaries, like AI generated book summaries, so they can check on each other's work so that they are using the AI tool ethically and responsibly. The other recommendation that I have is encourage co-creation of content with and for students and encourage them to do lateral reading of each other's content. So sort of checking on each other's content to ensure accuracy and there's no misinformation and there's no disinformation. And I've seen that this type of method really works. For any creation of AI-generated work in the classroom, boost the practice of providing feedback on their AI-generated work. They are providing feedback to each other. So more sort of a peer sort of feedback. This is super important because this will help them to continue to understand and evaluate AI use in their classroom. So use AI to understand and evaluate AI together to build responsible AI tool. So that I forgot to click. Sorry about that. So use AI to understand and evaluate AI together to build AI use. It's really hard to build responsible AI use if you don't use AI tool. So I would not recommend you stopping your students from not using AI because if not, they will not be able to understand and evaluate AI. Going back to the AI literacy framework that I suggested. Okay, lastly, call for action, AI literacy for all. So Sunway College and also all the educators that are present today at the conference, If you have not already, and this is specifically for the school leaders and for department heads, unit heads, provide guidance to your educators, to your teachers to adopt and evaluate AI throughout education so that our current and future generation are aware and are able to critically evaluate AI systems. So here you can see on the slide, there's like one guidance here. This also comes from the Digital Promise Report. You can take a look, AI for students, AI for teachers. So there are new platforms for AI systems and tools emerging every day. So the guidance should be adaptable in order to be responsive to the risk of new applications as they arise. Additionally, AI systems and tools are being used across environments. So while universities and schools have control over the technology that you all provide to the students, you don't have much control over the technology that students bring to classrooms, at least in the colleges here in the US, we don't control that. Or what are the tools that they use outside of the classroom or at home or in their dorms. So responsible use guidelines and policies should promote responsible use across contexts, both in and outside classroom. So the second call for action that I have is that while there are some natural, technical, and computing courses that can build AI literacy, foundational skills, and technical knowledge, I'm actually hoping that we can integrate AI across all subjects, which will enable our students to experience this cross-disciplinary application of AI tools. Here you see an example from Talladega County Public Schools. They are integrating AI literacy across discipline because they feel its advantages for several reasons. But most importantly, they're doing this because this cross-disciplinary integration of AI enables students to make connections to cross-sector application of AI, which then is relevant when they finish school, finish college, because they are going to do that in their career or wherever they go for work. They are going to be definitely seeing cross-disciplinary applications of AI. And lastly, I think I have two more call for action. So facilitate ongoing just-in-time professional development. So safe and effective integration of AI tools in education really depends on AI literate educators. However, it is not reasonable to assume that educators have the time to use, understand, and evaluate AI tools on their own. So I'm calling for professional development and learning that are aimed at enhancing AI literacy that can support educators to understand how to promote AI literacy skill development. And I can share a little bit about what's happening at the University of Maryland if you're interested on that during the Q&A. Also have some curated resources like what you see here on top here in Broward County Public Schools. They have a curated resources, teaching resources on AI, which teachers can just tap into. And then what you see down here at the Iowa City Community School and Talladega County Schools is that they have a point person in their school or unit or department, I believe, there is a champion of AI, can answer any AI questions or can find out more about AI. And lastly, because AI literacy is a skill for everyone, universities, schools should not only support their students, but also support the community around you, the families, so that they are aware of how AI tools are being used and to understand the agency that they have in deciding if and how they, their child, their friend, their peer will use them and how that will impact their lives and society. So show and tell all things AI with your community around you. It really takes a village to educate people on AI literacy. And with that, I like to thank the Teaching and Learning Transformation Center at the University of Maryland, which really helped me to integrate AI into my own classrooms and into my own training that I do with librarians nationwide here in the US. I also like to thank my own college, College of Information, that really supported me with this work. And then the Digital Promise report that I shared with you. Many of the authors are actually University of Maryland alums, PhD graduates of our university. So I'm very thankful to them for bringing and realizing that AI literacy and sharing it with everyone. And today I get to share that with you. And also my colleague, my friend, Dr. Sheena Erete, who's always has inspired me in her work on AI. And with that, I would like to thank you. And this is my information, and I am happy to take questions. Thank you for bearing with me a little over 30 minutes. So when I tend to talk, I tend to talk. I'm going to stop sharing now.